Hey, everybody out there, what are you dreaming? This is Dr. Martin Williams. I am the Dream Keeper. My assignment is to make sure that you find out what your dream is and that you find out what your desire is and you make a decision for it, because life is really all about decisions. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to everything that I'm doing and everywhere I'm doing it. So today I want to talk to you about the power of paradigms. The power of paradigms. And this may be a word you've heard. Hopefully I can explain it in a way that I can break it down and help you understand where it is, where it comes from, and how to change it. Because all of us need to deal with our paradigms every day. All of us need to deal with our worldview every day. All of us needs to deal with how we see ourselves every day. All of us need to deal with how we see others, how we see problems, how we see opportunities. Those are paradigms. So when we start talking about the power of paradigm, let's talk first about what it is. What is a paradigm? What a paradigm really is, it's really the model in which you live your life. It's this framework of mindset and attitudes and your view of the world. It's how you live your life. It's really a model. You do it every day. Most of it you do without even thinking about it. Paradigms can move in such a way in your life where you're set on automatic mode. You set on this automatic pilot thing. And if you don't change your paradigm, you fly through your whole life just at one level. You never escalate. You never rise up. You never go through stratospheres or levels or what we call scaling in your life or scaling in your business. So we really have to deal with paradigms. So it's the model in which you live your life. Literally, it's the set of rules you live by every day. Did you know you have a set of rules you live by that you don't even think about? A set of rules on how you deal with people, how you deal with yourself, how you deal with your health, your wealth, your development. All of those things are set by rules. And those paradigms are the rules in which you live by, and you don't break them. Once you set these rules, they're very hard to break. These are regulations. This is the regulatory systems of your life. These regulations that guide and move you through whatever you're dealing with. And they work everywhere. They work everywhere. Those are two big things. Now, it's really how do we say it? Paradigms are what set the edges of your life. The walls of your life. And if there's a wall in your life concerning money or concerning relationships or concerning your own personal mental and emotional and physical health, if there's a wall there, you never go against it. You never penetrate it. That's where you stop. It's the edge. It's the limitation that's been put on your life. And many of us have limiting walls of expectations of ourselves. And limiting walls of expectations of what we can get from life happens all the time. And that's why I'm here to just help us challenge it. I have to do this every day. Every day. Even before starting this podcast or this video, something came up. And I'm telling you, I've been working on this big idea for so long. It was only supposed to take a month, and I've been doing it 5 months now. But this practice is helping me push the walls back of my paradigm, the rules, the lines, the barriers of my life in which I live by how I think. I live by how I move through life. So next, what is a paradigm? A paradigm tells you how to act. Tells you how to act with everything. That paradigm in your head tells you how to act, respond to life, respond to boundaries, respond to what people say, respond to what people don't say, respond to what kind of car you drive, respond to everything. It's boundaries that are set for you. It tells you how to act. It tells you how to respond. Now you're beginning to get, we really need to deal with paradigms, right? Because paradigms are there whether you know they are or not. Paradigms lead your life whether you know they do or not. It's the paradigm that sets everything. So let's say, for instance, you work someplace, or you're in a relationship with someone, or you join a team, and phrases like this come out. And the phrase could be something like, "This is just how we do things around here." What they're saying to you is, this is the paradigm in which we live in this organization. And there are often times in your life, where you're stuck in a place because of paradigms other people set, and you don't even know it's affecting you personally. So you have to deal with that. A lot of these paradigms that are built inside companies, built inside organizations, you can also adapt them and take that mindset home with you. Take that mindset into your own personal business, or take that mindset into your own relationships. So that's why paradigms are very important. My last, perhaps extreme definition of what a paradigm could be, it's a computer. It's a computer program that's already been programmed for you, and it leads your life automatically, does not change, does not shift. It leads your life automatically. It's a computer program. It's an algorithm. So when we start talking about paradigms, when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you are looking at a person that's living, breathing, eating, making money, having relationships, exercising because there's a paradigm that's set for you. Whatever that paradigm is, it's difficult to break, especially when you've not identified what it is. So now, just say with me, my paradigms run my life. And that's the truth. Your paradigms run your life. Now, let's deal with, now that we sort of know what a paradigm is, let's deal with how paradigms are set, or how paradigms are made, or how paradigms are established. What built these boundaries in my life? What built these walls? What built these systems? What built these laws, regulations, rules? How do they get built? From the moment you're born, those paradigms are beginning to be set. From the moment you're born, and by the age of 7, 5 to 7, most of them are set for your life. By the time between 5 and 7, the paradigm of money is set for you. The paradigm of relationships, the paradigm of health. That's how they're set. That's when they're set. Let's talk about how they're set. How are paradigms set for you? Literally, paradigms are set by your experiences. Your experiences. By 7, by 5 or 7, what kind of things just keep happening? You see them constantly. It's the same all the time. In your house, with friends, with siblings, mom, dad, cousins. What are those things that happen all the time? If they're happening all the time, in your head, you think as a child, this must be normal. This must be the way it's done. This has to be true. If between the age of 5 and 7, you see your family struggling to eat, struggling to get food, struggling, and now it's the conversation at the dinner table, it's all around. What happens in your head? Your paradigm is set, which says life is about making it hard to get food. Life is about we're not going to eat all the time. Life is about mom and dad struggle to get food. My brothers and sisters also accept it. So this is acceptable to me. Am I making sense to you? It's happening all the time. It's your experience, and everybody around you is accepting it. So it becomes a paradigm for you. It becomes a limitation. It becomes a rule. It becomes edges. It becomes walls. It becomes hedges. It becomes a lane that you run in. And before you know it, it's natural. Other children at other houses are learning something else, but this is what you're learning. So it becomes true to you. So first, it's experiences. It's what you're experiencing naturally, emotionally, spiritually. You're in real time with real situations, and this is the way it typically turns out. Relationships. You watch mom, dad, or relationships in your home with your siblings, and there are always arguments. There's always trouble. There's always something we don't agree on. There's always issues. Well, when you're 5 to 7, your paradigm is every relationship's going to be a problem. Why? Because that is what you are experiencing. You're experiencing it in your life. You're experiencing it on the playground. You're experiencing it riding your bike on the street. So now in the same way, your experiences build a system for you to live in, a computer program that's automatic for you. And that's what we're facing. That's why challenges to our paradigm has to happen all the time. So it's your personal experiences. Number two, it's what happens with your parents and with family that's closest to you growing up. Whatever happens with parents, family, and those relationships, those become paradigms. My parents love me. My parents hate me. My siblings love me. My siblings hate me. That's where a paradigm is to be set, because once they treat you a certain way, the people who love you, the people that you're around a lot, you're simply going to say in your mind, I guess this is true. This is the right way to think about it. This is the truth of the matter. Why? Because it's coming from mom and dad. It's coming from siblings, nieces, nephews, cousins. It's coming from grandma, grandpa. Well, if everybody around me thinks this way, it has to be true. Why? Because that's the only world at the time you are experiencing. You're not experiencing another world. You're experiencing the world you're around all the time and can hardly get away from. Family. Now, this is where it can get interesting, because it's not just experiences in family, it's the teachers in your life. The teachers in grade school, kindergarten. That teacher in kindergarten that has a certain way that he or she moves around the kindergarten or around the school or a coach or whatever they're doing, and it's happening all the time. It's happening all the time with the same people. So now in your mind, you say, this is true. And when you say this is true, you build a wall. You have built a limitation. You have set a ceiling. That paradigm becomes a ceiling for everything. If you're in a poor daycare, you see lack. If you're in a very wealthy daycare as a child, you see abundance. Wherever you are raised, whatever you experience, whatever your teachers are saying, whatever that teaching environment is, that sets a paradigm. I would have a teacher, a particular teacher in elementary school, a math teacher, that would remind us that money didn't grow on trees. She had a limited experience with money. Well, at first, I believed it because she was saying it. Somebody hired her. Somebody told me to sit down with 30 other students in her class. Somebody trusted her. Of course, she wouldn't have this position if she wasn't qualified. So when she says something, I believe it. You have teachers in the classroom. You have teachers in sports. You have teachers that you look up to. You have older siblings that are teachers. You have your older sister's boyfriend that becomes a teacher. Teachers are all around you. People you look up to that you expect to tell you the truth. And whatever they are saying can become your paradigm. It can become what you really believe. And some teachers can give you a paradigm that is a lie, but you have accepted it as the truth. Some teachers would tell me as I was growing up that I wasn't going to learn like other kids. They had their reasons, I'm certain, but I believed them at first. I believed that because I didn't read as well as some kids in my class. And you know what happens? The person that can't read the most, people who can read the best will get up and read. The people who can't read, the people who can read the best, they get up and read voluntarily. That's my point. The people who can't read as well as them, they sit back. But who's the teacher going to pick to read? The teacher's going to always pick the person who may not be able to read the best to come up and read. Well, I was told you're not going to learn as much. You're not going to be as smart. Even by the time I was in high school, getting ready to graduate, I was told you're not college material. You're not going to go to college. But by then, I had learned how to control my own paradigm. Words from teachers. Let me just say this to you. Words from people you respect, words from people who are hired to teach you, words of people that you look up to should not be your paradigm. You should not allow others to set your limits, your walls, your ceilings, your boundaries. That is your job. Your paradigm is your job to set, and it's your job to challenge, and it's your job to maintain. That power should not be given to anyone. You have to rule that yourself, because whoever sets your paradigms has control over you. Your paradigms have control over you. So this is a thing that you must adopt and keep and decide and hold and mold for yourself. No one else should do that. That has to be your job. That has to be something that you do, not something that someone else does for you. I think I'm making sense. Where else does it come from? And this is a huge one. Paradigms are set by your friends, the people you hang out with. If you want to know what you're going to be like, if you want to know what you're going to be like, look at the top 5 friends that are around you. If you're hanging out around 5 poor friends, you're going to be the 6th one. If you're hanging out around 5 ignorant friends, you're going to be the 6th ignorant friend, because culture sets your paradigms, your friends, the people you respect, who you spend time around. If your friends think it, you will think it's true. If all of your friends agree about certain things, you will agree as well. Why? Because that's the company that you're keeping. And those friends set your boundaries. The friends set your boundaries. Why? Because you spend most of your time around them. So I would join a group that I was the dumbest in. I would join a group where I was the poorest. I would join a group, because that's what I did. I joined groups of the smartest kids. I wasn't mad at them. I just knew they had a better paradigm than mine. So the longer I hung around them, the longer you hang around the group that you want to be like, the better you're going to become, because those groups help to reset. They help to reset your paradigms. They clean up your paradigms. They challenge your paradigms. You go to visit a friend. You grew up in a poor house, but you go visit a friend that's in a moderate house, and you're like, wow, to them, this is true. So why couldn't it be true for me? I wanted to lose weight, but I don't think I can. Everybody around me is not losing weight. But when I join a group of people, when I go into a house where they have lost weight or they're thin, I say, thin to them is true. Health to them is true. Well, why can't it be true to me? Now I am intentionally understanding that paradigms can be moved. Last thing I'll say about this. You have to understand that paradigms can be moved. Walls can be pushed out. Ceilings can be lifted. Floors can be deepened. Plans can be rewritten. Edges can be realigned. Boundaries can be set back. The rules you've written for your life can be rewritten. The regulations that have been built for your life can be re-regulated. Is that a word? I'm not sure. But all of this can be done over, and it's your job to do so. Am I making sense? Okay. So you've been thinking about consultancy for your personal development, for your business development, for whatever it is you want to develop it. You're tired of thinking about it. You're dreaming about it. You have a desire for it, but now you're trying to figure out consulting. Is it worth it? Let me tell you the 5 reasons you need a consultant. They're very, very, very important. Number 1 is expertise. The consultant knows how to do things you don't know how to do, and you need that expertise. Number 2, you need to understand that a consultant has objectivity. They can see what you don't see. They've been here before, so they can be objective without having emotions wrapped into it. Number 3, they're efficient. They're going to save so much in your process because they have systems to get you there. Number 4, strategic, this guidance you need, setting the strategy. How do you move? Which thing do you do first, second, last? Which relationships do you have? They understand strategy. And lastly, cost. It's going to save you money. Go ahead and pick the consultancy. Dream Keepers is a great consultant company with amazing people who can consult you. I am one of them. Consider it. Let's get it done. Let's dream, desire, and make decisions. So I think the bottom line is here that paradigms are set by your environment, where you spend the most time, especially early on in your life, who you spend the most time with, what situations are you confronted with, what do you experience? So it's that environment that sets paradigms. So it's very important to understand that your environment is building something in you right now. It's changing you. So let's talk about how does a paradigm affect you then? I mean, Martin, I mean, you're talking about a paradigm and you're talking about what it is. You're telling me where it comes from, but what are you really trying to say? What I'm trying to say is your paradigm is your life. Your paradigm affects you everywhere. Why? Because it's impossible. Please understand me. It is impossible to live above your paradigm. To you in the back row, I'm telling you, you cannot live above your paradigm. It is impossible to do so. Your paradigm has you in a grip, and it's either a life grip or a death grip. Your paradigm has your life cornered, sectioned. It is, whether it's a big one or a little one, you're living inside of it. You cannot live above your paradigm. You cannot live outside your paradigm. It's a rule of life. As a matter of fact, you can't have something that you don't want. In other words, you can't have something you don't want. If I have a paradigm of how I see my life, financially, physically, relationally, whatever that system is in my life or that thing I want to live, I can't have what I'm not thinking about. I can't have what I don't see. I can't have something that I don't believe. I believe these things are true. That's why I have them. I can't live above it. I can't get something I don't want. I can't get something I don't desire. I don't even know it's desirable. I'm telling you, the first time, and I remember as a little boy at 16, I had an amazing pastor. Since my parents were gone, he allowed me to drive him in town to a funeral. So we left our little church and we were going to a different church for a funeral on a Sunday afternoon. On our way there, he said, "Do you want to drive my car?" You know, this is only 10, 15 miles away from our current location. And I'm telling you, I drove his car to this funeral, but all the time I'm driving, I'm like, this doesn't drive like my sister's car. I mean, this is amazing because mostly everything in his car worked. I know that's funny, but everything there were some electric windows, there was a radio, there was a screen. The radio worked differently. It wasn't like a dial. And I'm like, I'd never seen one. My paradigm automatically shifted because now I had a different experience. So now I don't just want a car. Now I want a car with most of the stuff in it working. You understand what I'm saying? I can't want what I don't know I want. I can't know because I have not experienced it. And that's why paradigms are so important because they change everything about you. You can't want something. You can't have something you don't want. Very important. You can't experience something that your mind says you can't experience. Do you know you can go to a place and experience something, but your mind tells you it's not for you? Your mind tells you that's for them. It's not for you. So you can't experience it if you don't know you can experience it. Paradigms affect you in everything: the food you eat, the air you breathe, the people you have in your life as friends. All of that is set by paradigms. It affects you in everywhere, every way. You can't you can't even go somewhere that you don't believe exists. Paradigm set where you go. Paradigm set all of your paradigm set all of your experience. You can't own something that your paradigm says you can't own. Think about that. If your paradigm says you can't own it, you'll never own it. If a paradigm says you can't own it, you'll never own it. If a paradigm says you can't have it, you'll never have it. If a paradigm says you can't go there, you won't go there. If a paradigm says you can't have this experience, you'll never have that experience. That's how important your paradigm is. It has to be dealt with on a constant daily basis. You have to put yourself in situations that push your paradigms, push them on both sides, pushes your ceiling, pushes your floor. Those kind of experiences can be so frustrating, intimidating, but you have to do it. And once you learn how to live your life on that cutting edge, your life becomes amazing, because everything you see that's not in your paradigm, but you have a desire for it in your mind, you go, wow, I'm going to set my paradigm higher. I'm going to set my thought process higher, because my paradigm is affecting me in every way. Do you believe that your paradigm sets how long you live? Because your paradigm sets what you eat. Your paradigm sets your exercise routine. Your paradigm sets who you marry or not marry. So now your paradigm tells you have to have a spouse that hates you. Well, you go ahead and marry one. Well, that's going to cut 10 to 15 to 20 years off your life. Your paradigm of what to eat changes. So now you're eating healthy. Well, you get another 15, 20 years of your life. You understand what I'm saying? Paradigms have to be dealt with. So never miss them. Never miss a paradigm. Never miss an opportunity to change your paradigm. All right? Hey everybody, Dr. Martin Williams here. Most people call me the Dr. Dream Keeper. And I want to tell you right now what you need to do. If you do not have my new book, Dream, Desire, Decide, you need to get that book. You can go to Amazon. You can click the link below. Any way you can get it, get it. Get the workbook too. Work through this process. It will change your life. Life comes to you when you know what you desire. And when you've made a decision for that desire, that's when everything changes. So I'm telling you to get the book. And on the other side of this book, you're going to see your life change. Okay, so I'm really like loving this conversation about paradigms. I'm challenging myself as I'm talking to you. Um, I had never heard of a paradigm till I was in my 40s. I didn't. I mean, I think I understood the concept of mostly what I have was developed out of what I experienced, but I didn't have this real idea of how big and how important and how powerful paradigms are. So let's talk about changing them. Are you interested in changing yours? Here are a few things that you need to do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to form these in the context of questions. Here are the things that you need to consider to change your paradigm. Okay. Ask yourself the question, what are my paradigms? As a matter of fact, you ask yourself that question, get out a notebook. Write in that notebook, write down your paradigms, the ways you think, the walls, the rules, the limitations, the barriers, the whatever you want to call them, your boundaries. Write down answers to this question. What are my paradigms? Write them down. Write down your paradigms for relationships. My paradigm for relationships is that they're always going to be a struggle. That's my paradigm. That's what I saw. That's what I believed. That's what I've witnessed. My paradigm for finances, it's always going to be a struggle. I'll never be rich. I'll never be very wealthy. I won't even be comfortable. I am here to just hang out in life, work 40 or so years, get a plastic watch with some gold paint on it, and then I'm going to die with Social Security. Be honest about your don't lie. Now, hold up now. When you're answering these questions, don't write down what you hope to be. Write down the truth of how you see life in these different areas. Lies help no one. But when you lie to yourself, you're hurting yourself. So don't lie to yourself. Lie to me. Lie to mama. Lie to your friends, but never lie to yourself. That's a killer. So tell the truth as you feel, as you're asking and answering this question. What are my paradigms? What are my walls? What are the systems? What is this computer program I'm living by in my life? What does it say? It's set on automatic pilot. How am I flying? What's the attitude of my plane? You get it? Ask that question and answer it. The next question you should ask yourself is, what do I believe and why? In other words, what do I believe about these things? I know my paradigm, but I want to know, what do I believe? What do I believe about these major areas in my life? What do I believe about these current circumstances? What's in my head and in my heart so I carry it out in my hands? If they're in my head and in my heart, my hands are going to do it. So what is my belief system around my paradigms. I just listed my paradigms above and what they are. Now I'm saying how I feel about them. What do I believe about them? What's my core belief about finances? What's my core belief about health? What's my core belief about wealth? Once I know that, now my life can change. These are questions. Are you writing these down? Maybe I'll make you a workbook that you can work through and you can get there. Here's another question. What are some of my limiting beliefs? This is what I believe. This is what I believe. But now go through that list and ask yourself, what are my limiting beliefs? What do I believe that works against me? What are my beliefs that are heavy on my shoulders? What are my beliefs that are detrimental? What are my beliefs that are lies, but they lead me to a moment of truth in my life because whatever I believe is what comes to pass? Ask yourself that question and write it down. Write it down because we're getting somewhere. So what are my core limiting beliefs? That is the question that you're going to be asking yourself and answering. Okay, here's the next question. What is one paradigm, just one, what is one paradigm I could change that would change my life? Just one. Doesn't have to be a million, doesn't have to be three, doesn't have to be two. But what's one paradigm, one of these lies I'm telling myself that if I could change that one paradigm, it would change my life for the positive. Just one. Not a million of them, not 10 of them, just one. For me, this was the paradigm. My paradigm, I wrote it all down. Then I talked about why I believe those. It was my environment. Then I picked out of 10 limiting paradigms one. And the limiting paradigm I picked was how I see myself. Life had taught me how to see myself. Being raised in the 60s in the South taught me how to see myself. Why? Because everybody around me taught me that was right. In my family, in my household, in the streets, in the school system, the police department, the people that we worked for. My family was the help in Mississippi. So the families we worked for helped me understand my limiting belief was how I felt about myself, how I thought about myself, how I thought what I deserved in my own mind. I decided that's the only thing I'm going to change, how I see myself, my paradigm of myself. So I have spent years pushing back the walls of that paradigm. I have spent years raising the ceiling on that paradigm. I've spent years changing the rules about that paradigm, and that paradigm only. So now I can be called arrogant by some people because I feel very good about myself. I feel very good about where I am. I feel very good about what I do. I love me, which allows me to love everybody, which allows me to get along with everybody, which allows me not to try to prove myself to anyone. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'll come back to you. What is one paradigm, just one paradigm you could pick to change, to focus on and push the boundaries of it that would change your life forever? I'm telling you, do that one thing. Change that one paradigm, that one rule, that one boundary, that one limitation. Change that one thing, because that thing will be a catalyst for everything else. So if you pick on that one paradigm, it will change your life forever. Here's what I'm getting at. You want to change your paradigm? I just told you how. Here's what you might ought to remember. And I'll ask it in the form of a question as well. Did you know you have two minds? Did you know you have two minds? You don't just have one mind. You have two. You have a subconscious mind and you have a conscious mind. Should I do this on a totally separate podcast? I don't know. So let me wade in the water here a little bit. You have a conscious mind. You have a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you think about every day. You know, it's stuff that's in front of you. It's just right here. It's conscious. So you're conscious of doing it. That's the word I'll use. And you have a subconscious mind. That subconscious mind runs your conscious mind. That subconscious mind is where the rules are. That subconscious mind is where your paradigms live. That subconscious mind is where your thoughts and your dreams live. It's where you live your life. Your conscious mind is subjective. It decides everything in your life. But your subconscious mind is so powerful because it reacts from the information that is stored there forever. There's information that's been stored there since you were a child. That's where your paradigms live. So to change your paradigm, you're going to have to deal with your subconscious mind. Here's a phrase that I would say all the time. Don't be undermined by your mind. Don't let your mind undermine you. In other words, your subconscious mind is your undermine. But even if you want to do something, it's your subconscious mind that tells you whether you can or not. That's where we live. So the real power in living is spending time and effort on your subconscious mind. And maybe I'll just do a whole new segment on that where I help you understand how you're really put together. And I think it will help you as well. Well, Dr. Martin Williams here. I am the Dream Keeper, and I'm here to make sure you figure out and learn what your dreams are and that you get to your real desire and you make a decision for that desire. See you next time.